Good evening and welcome to MetroFocus. I'm Rafael Piraman. Concerning news as hate hits the streets of Brooklyn in a graphic way. The NYPD Hate Crime Task Force is now investigating two incidents this past week where Jewish men were attacked in Brooklyn. Police say the latest brazen attack happened in broad daylight on April 22nd near the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn near East 46th Street and Rutland Road. Menachem Moskowitz was leaving Temple at about 12:30 in the afternoon when he passed a man on the street. Moskowitz said, quote, "I greeted him and I go, continue. Next thing I know, he said, I don't like Jews. Who are you talking to? I don't talk to Jews." All of the time, the attacker was saying, "I hate you Jews. Get out of my neighborhood."
Jumps on me and then puts me to the gate and he's trying to hold me down, punches me the whole time and puts me into a headlock and tries to, and then starts to choke me in. And all of the time he's saying, "I hate you Jews, I hate you Jews, you effing Jews. Get out of my neighborhood, you stole my house."
Two good Samaritans came to Moskowitz's defense and helped him escape the attacker. Last week in the afternoon, on April 14th, a 42-year-old Orthodox Jewish man was assaulted in the predominantly Orthodox community along Eastern Parkway near New York Avenue. According to police, the victim was jumped by a group of people and punched in the face. The Jewish community is deeply troubled by these events, and many Jewish residents of the neighborhood say they are now afraid to walk their own streets. And Assemblyman Dov Hikind said, quote, "People are very, very nervous about what is going on." The Anti-Defamation League is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individuals responsible for the attacks. MetroFocus co-host Jenna Flanagan is at ADL's New York headquarters, standing by with its New York Regional Director, Evan Bernstein. Jenna?
Thanks, Raf. So, Evan, first I want to welcome you back to the program. Unfortunately, I wish it was under better circumstances. But first, I just want to start with, take us through what it was that happened with these two gentlemen in Brooklyn.
So unfortunately, we've seen two very horrific assaults, allegedly anti-Semitic assaults. Both the individuals were Orthodox Jews that were targeted this past Saturday and the Saturday before, which is the Sabbath, which is the holy day for the Jewish people, especially Orthodox people in Brooklyn and across the world. And both these people were put in the hospital. They were physically assaulted horrifically, black eyes, broken ribs, etc. And it's incredibly disturbing.
All right. Well, you were at the press conference with the Brooklyn Borough President shortly after these two events occurred, and he was talking a lot about the tension that's growing in Brooklyn. But I just wanted to get your take on what it is that's going on, because not only has there been an increase in the number of anti-Semitic assaults, but a lot of them have been in Brooklyn.
I think so much of what's taking place in Brooklyn is unfortunately a lack of communication between different minority groups. I think we've had amazing communication with elected officials and interfaith leaders in the community. But I think the actual individuals on the ground, the average person on the street, is not talking to each other and not interacting with each other. And when that happens, tensions can be built, and you have the other not being understood, and these kind of things can happen. And I think it's our job as leaders to try to bring those people together and have real conversations so they understand who other people are in their community that maybe look different, act different, and have different religious faiths and backgrounds.
So unfortunately, not only has there been an increase in the number of anti-Semitic assaults that we've seen, but there's also been a growing number of anti-Semitic graffiti that we've seen either on synagogues or on other public property. And I just wanted to get your take on why is it so important to stop it with the graffiti?
Well, I think there's always levels of anti-Semitism and levels of hate. And last year we saw a 90% increase in anti-Semitic incidents in New York State. The gross majority of that was anti-Semitic vandalism that took place in the city of New York, in the state of New York. And really for the first time we started seeing normalization of this kind of graffiti. And I think what concerns me is when things like graffiti become normalized and we see such a large uptick that we don't want to see a normalization of other kinds of anti-Semitic kind of hate behavior, which is assaults, etc. And I think that's one of the things that the most fearful. So I think we need to educate people to understand why this kind of graffiti is inappropriate and how hurtful it is to communities.
And of course, just to be clear, when we're talking about anti-Semitic graffiti, we're not talking about infringing on someone's free speech rights, correct?
No. If someone wants to walk onto the subway with a swastika t-shirt, they have every right to do that. That's their free speech right. As the ADL is a civil rights organization, we're fiercely protective of free speech. But when someone puts a swastika on a synagogue, which is defaming public property, and then putting the word Jew underneath that, that's a hate crime.
We've seen anti-Semitic graffiti, not only on Jewish houses of worship, but we've also seen graffiti on Muslim houses of worship. We've also seen assaults on numerous different minority groups. So tell me about the ADL's stand on defending all people.
We have a very unique mission. It's over a 105-year-old mission: stop the defamation of the Jewish people, secure justice and fair treatment for all. And so when we see a hate crime or an act of hate towards another group that's not the Jewish group, we stand up right there with it. We put out rewards when there was a Muslim that was murdered. We put out a reward. When there's a hate crime that takes place towards another, we put out a statement. And it's something we take very, very seriously. We're here to protect the Jewish people and stop anti-Semitism, but we understand that if the other fellow minority groups in the city and across the country being infringed upon, they're also infringing upon the Jewish community, and that's something we take very seriously and do speak out often.
And last question before I let you go, I did want to ask about, there seems to be a growing tension within the country, and some people have said it's political, some people have said there's other things that are going on, but why is it that we all feel so polarized from each other?
I think it's partially politics, but I think it's the nature of where the country's going. I think you see it because of social media a lot. I think people are really speaking in their own little worlds, if you will, and they're only tagging the people that they want to read, they're only seeing the news that they want to see, and they're only friending the people they want to friend, and those people typically have, the same kind of belief system, and it's an echo chamber, and so when that happens, you're not learning about other people are thinking, other people's beliefs. It allows for this polarization. We've seen this deep polarization, not only politically in this country, but also socially. And it's very, very harmful. And I think it's something we have to take very seriously.
All right. Well, listen, Evan, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the program again. And of course, hopefully we can talk to you sometime in the future about something on a more positive note.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The NYPD Hate Crime Task Force is investigating these attacks. Anyone with information about the assaults is asked to call the NYPD Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS.